Hi everyone, this is lecture 1.1, introducing the course for our Sociology 2120, Crime, Public Policy, and the Criminal Justice System. My name is Jeremy Baker and I will be your instructor for this course. So I will introduce myself, I will then review our online classroom briefly, we'll then talk about the syllabus and we'll talk about what exactly we are going to be studying in this class. So first, a little bit about myself. My name is Jeremy E. Baker. I am a sociologist. I live in Columbus, Ohio, so we will not be having in-person meetings. We will not be having in-person lectures. This is an entirely online course. I have a wife and 2 children. I teach online for the University of New Mexico. I also teach for the Ohio State University and Columbus State Community College. The best way for you to contact me is through my UNM email, profjeremybaker@unm.edu. That is the best way to keep track of things. You may also contact me using my Columbus State email. However, for the sake of not getting emails lost and following proper UNM protocol, please use the UNM email unless it looks like something is broken in that regard. I also sit on the board of the Columbus Free Press, which is a newspaper in the Columbus area, and we also do things like elections monitoring. I am also an elected official of the Working Class Studies Association, which studies the behaviors of the working class. It's pretty much all right there. More about me, you can find at www.sociology.pizza. That is my website. I once had a more professional looking website name, but sociology.pizza is just too great to look up. So let's review the online classroom a little bit. I'm not going to be flipping through screens the way that can get a little bit jarring. I'm just going to point you to the most critical parts of our online classroom. Since this is an online course, I am making a certain assumption that you know how to do it. If you do need IT help, though, please let me know or contact UNM IT. The announcements are probably the most critical part of the course for you. You need to check them frequently, whether they get sent to your email or not, because these will include important information regarding the course. If you ignore the announcements, if you don't pay attention to them, it could and it almost definitely will impact your grade because I will be giving you updates on maybe something different that I want done in a given assignment, or there might be a deadline extension in there, or there might be a critical hint for a test or something. That's why you really need to check those announcements every single time you log on. Hopefully that means several times per week. You need to look at those. Additionally, you have to-do lists for this course. So you will see this portion, this screenshot will actually be over here in the left-hand column of Blackboard Learn. I just put it over on the right because that's a little more convenient for this lecture. But you will see quick links. Those quick links will give you direct access to our discussion boards, quizzes, essays, exams, and that sort of thing. And then under here, there will be 3 units. There'll be a unit 1, and then under that will be unit 2, and then unit 3. Under each unit, there will be a weekly to-do list for each week. And at the beginning of each week, these will autofill. So if you're watching this lecture during week 1, you will only see week 1 introductions. You'll then click on that, and that will give you all the things you need to do for this week. Almost every single week there will be a lecture, but sometimes you will see a discussion post on your to-do list. Sometimes there will be exercises, there will be papers, quizzes, and exams. Each of those do not appear every single week. That's why I have the to-do lists, to show you what needs to get done that week. Additionally, you may want to note the student learning objectives for each week. If you aren't super well versed in how colleges are controlled on the state level, we are given learning objectives for every single course from the state. And so that is these, well, actually, I don't list those anyway, but these weekly SLOs try to reflect the state mandated SLOs. So our weekly SLOs for week 1 will be to orient yourself with the mechanics of the course. You will define sociology and criminology and be able to explain the difference between the two. You will be able to explain the differences between the crime control model and the due process model. And you will learn how the politics in the United States impacts policy and why politicians do not always pursue consistent policies regarding their political platform. If you're watching this in the beginning of the week, I don't expect you to be able to tell all of those things. But if there were a quiz at the end of the week, that would all be fair game. So this stuff, again, you could get through the course by completely ignoring the SLOs, you really could, but there is really useful information here as far as what you will be learning this week. So this is stuff you can look out for. It might be stuff that's more likely to show up on a test or not, if that is valuable information for you. Let's talk briefly about the syllabus. So I'll be switching over. Here is the syllabus. Whoops. 1 second. There we are. So let's talk briefly about our syllabus. In our syllabus, my name's listed, my email is listed, and then my emergency email is listed right there. Here we have our catalog description for the course, as well as the course materials. This is Criminal Justice Policy, is the textbook we will be using. That should be available in the bookstore. You could also get it on Amazon, but be aware if you get it on Amazon, you cannot return it to the bookstore. Here we have assessments. We will have 6 discussions this semester. We will have 5 quizzes, 1 midterm essay, 7 short essays. Those are about 500 words each. 2 exercises, 3 study guides, 3 exams, for a total of 600 points for the course. And then here we see the relative percentages for the course, what it takes to get what grade in the course, expectations that I have of you in the discussion posts. Obviously, I'm skimming over this super fast. It is in your best interest for you, though, to read this over when you have time. The most important thing in discussion posts is that we avoid intentionally homophobic, racist, sexist, ethnocentric, or otherwise discriminatory statements. This, first of all, to live in a society, we need to avoid that stuff. But to do a social science course, it is extra important to do those things, to avoid those things, because when people are called names, when people are insulted, they shut down, right? And when people shut down, we can't share our experiences anymore. We can't feel that we're safe anymore. So we need to avoid those things. There's just more information if you want to look into what's expected of you: quizzes, exercises, essays, academic honesty. Don't cheat. I will catch you. I promised you that. Email etiquette policy. Please expect me to return your emails in a timely fashion, but I cannot guarantee I will respond to you immediately over the weekend. My goal is to respond to you within 24 hours within the work week. But if you send me an email early morning Saturday and then keep sending me emails every couple hours all weekend, I probably won't respond to you by Monday. So just please be aware of that. More information about the tech needs. I mean, tech is really important for this course. If you need help, please let me know. Course evaluation. Oh, Americans with Disabilities Act. This is really important. If you have a documented disability, please let me know. I legally can't help you with that until you let me know. Additionally, if you think you might have a disability, please contact Disability Services so they can try to get that worked out. When you were in college is the best time for you to try to figure those sorts of things out. And then here we have our policies, not our policies, sorry, our schedule for the semester. So if you're watching this in the first week, you'll see that politics of crime and policy making is the reading you need to do. You are expected to make your initial post in discussion 1, so introduce yourself there. You are expected to complete exercise 1, which is your course orientation, and you are expected to make your comment posts. That's what you need to do for week 1. And then each subsequent week has expectations of you there. So that is what we need to know for the syllabus. You may want to print this out if you need a copy. If you're not really a printing kind of person, you may want to save a copy of this onto your desktop. That's highly suggested. But back to the PowerPoint. So, what exactly is this course? Well, this is a sociology course. Sociology is a social science that focuses on human social interaction. If you've taken sociology courses before, you know all about that. But maybe you haven't, and you don't even know what social science is. Well, social science is a science that studies people. So psychology, economics, anthropology, sociology, these are all social sciences. So we study our social world, as opposed to physics, chemistry, biology, who study the natural world. Those are natural sciences. And a science is any discipline that uses the scientific method. So in this course, just like other sociology courses, we will help you to understand how larger structures in society impact you and how you can impact those structures. So in this course, we're talking about how the criminal justice system and public policy and maybe politics relating to the criminal justice system, how those impact you and how you can impact those structures. More specifically, though, this is a criminology course. Criminology is a subdiscipline of sociology that focuses on behaviors that are classified as illegal or otherwise socially deviant. Criminologists are not always in agreement with law enforcement on how to best address crime. So a police officer is not a criminologist. A criminologist is a scientist who studies what is classified as criminal behavior. Police don't always get along with criminologists because it is the law enforcement's job to enforce the law, but it is a criminologist's job to study and to question the law, right? So it's two different mindsets. And I've actually known criminologists who have gotten in conflicts with police officers because police are trained to enforce, they're not trained to question, and vice versa with criminologists. So this is not a criminal justice course. It's a sociology course. We have had students get confused about that and trying to fill their criminal justice requirements. This course, I believe, does fill an elective status for the criminal justice major, but just know this is not a criminal justice actual course. I don't want you to get messed up academically in that regard. Anyway, though, I do want you to be in the course, though, because I think this is a great course. Criminal justice system is the system we use to capture and process those that we consider criminal in our society. This includes the police, the court systems, the prisons, the jails, parole officers. All of those are part of this criminal justice system. I want you to note that jails and prisons are not the same thing. We use those as synonyms, but they're not the same thing. Jail is supposed to be a temporary holding facility. The very longest an individual can be legally held in jail in most places is about 2 years. And we try to keep it much shorter than that because it's not intended for you to live in jail. You're supposed to live in prison, which is where criminals are put to serve their 15-year sentence, right? That's where we put people who have been convicted. Jail is just where we hold people for a while. So what is policy, you may ask? Well, policies are utilized by governments and organizations to facilitate and regulate action. They guide the decision-making process, and they provide direction as to how policy is implemented. So policy are official rules. That's another way to put policy. Policy in a company takes the form of company rules, right? So you could be fired for doing something that's against company rules. If you violate government rules, which are laws, if you violate laws, you may be punished with a fine or be put in prison. Many criminologists are engaged in the evaluation of policy. So part of what a criminologist does is figure out, well, does a law work? Does it make sense? Who's breaking these laws? Why are they breaking these laws? And this helps improve the criminal justice system by developing evidence-based practice. Evidence-based practice is a concept in medical medicine and social work and other disciplines that helps stress doing the job based on what there's evidence for, right? So if there is a law that does not have evidence backing it, maybe we need to consider changing that law. That's what evidence-based practice does regarding the criminal justice system, right? It's not just because we've always had this law in this way doesn't mean we should always have this law. That is something criminologists will point out. Social mores and norms are changing about a lot of things. Marijuana, for example, right? Marijuana use is becoming more common. It's becoming increasingly destigmatized. What does that mean to our criminal justice system? What are those regarding? How is that changing? That is part of the conversation with evidence-based practice. Sorry about that. And then finally, we evaluate. We need to figure out, does a program keep working? Not necessarily even just the law, but our programs like DARE, for example, do we need to keep doing it? Does it still work? What does and doesn't work about it? That is process evaluation. Sorry, I got mixed up there. And then process evaluation is the analysis of where policy can be improved and the degree to which policy does what it is intended to do. So we look at what we are doing in enforcement and how it can be better, and maybe how it can be questioned and how we can put better things into place. And we'll talk about a lot more about that in the next lecture. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Hopefully, I try to keep these lectures under 30 minutes. This one is going to be a little bit shorter than average because we're not really digging into things yet. The next lecture will probably be a little bit longer. But yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know.